Wow, 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 wow. A very good afternoon, good evening to everyone who is just joining me for the first time or in any way you're joining me today. I want to say thank you for bearing with us. This is Tony's program, Scrutiny with Tony's Nnadi. We have a little bit of problem with it over the way on Friday, so we couldn't actually broadcast it on Friday. So we managed to say we're not going to let this go untouched because something that is this important needs to be talked about. We want to decommission, we want to jettison the 1999 Constitution, which is the source, the problem, and the tap, according to Tony, that all the mystery of our country has been flowing from. And the only thing we could do, in honesty, is to bring it down completely, dismantle it, and put it in the bin. Not just put it in the bin, but actually shred it before we put it in the bin. So on the program today, Tony is there to analyze things. But before we continue, before we actually start, I want you to listen to this instruction from somebody who is well known, who knows about what we're talking about, and who obviously see a reason and see things the way Tony is saying it. I'm not going to say much about the fellow because I've been looking for him. I know it's very difficult to get him as well to speak to us. I'm sure one day will be one day we will surely get out of him. Let's listen to him. This image is actually courtesy of Arise News in Nigeria.
Any Nigerian who is still hanging around waiting for 2023 to change Nigeria is a fool. Line 20 Daily Faro me up and ask them to become president of Nigeria. 20 of me, 20. Multiply their brain power by 10, factor of 10, and then force them to operate the 1999 Constitution with the governance system that is enshrined in it. We shall fail spectacularly. The problem of Nigeria can never be resolved by personnel changes. The system is designed with impunity undergirding it, and it can never deliver anything positive to the Nigerian peoples. Be those Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, Fulani, whatever they care to be. Make an Igbo man president of Nigeria in 2023 and force him to operate the 1999 Constitution. Complete waste of time. Igbo will continue to suffer the brunt of the wickedness of the Nigerian state. Every Nigerian is rendered stateless by the 1999 Constitution. It is an iniquitous, wicked, and evil document. It has nothing good for the Nigerian people. And the longer we continue to fool ourselves believing, and let me enter one quick caveat. Our rulers are actually very intelligent when they care to be, especially when it comes to their own preservation. And I know as a fact that they're already making noises about restructuring in Abuja. The Mace Snatcher and the Lawan and that one that calls himself Baja. All of them are sat there running helter-skelter, cobbling together some lies that they intend to sell to us as constitutional, what do they call it, amendment. Let's be clear. You cannot continue to build on top of lies. You can't sustain that lie. And as long as justice is missing in a place, you continue to have strife. We need to tell ourselves the truth, and that truth is that the closest we can come to normalcy in Nigeria is to have a return to the original agreements that founded this country.
Return to the original agreement that we agree to come together with. Apart from that, nothing and absolutely nothing can work. And this man, Tony Nnadi, has been crying about this, has been saying this for a long time. Nobody cares to listen. Now he's getting more grease in the engine, more petrol in the fire. And the best thing to do is to hear from the horse's mouth, who is going to actually be talking to us a lot about what is happening today. Let's welcome my guest. Tony, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was really worried. I thought you were falling asleep with my long introduction.
No. No, we're here. You know.
Okay.
Welcoming our viewers too.
Okay. Tony.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people are seeing things from your point of view. Why did it take everybody this long to actually see the truth coming?
Well, when uh, when uh, when Noah told his people that the flood will come, they mocked him and generally, refused to see any possibility. When he came, he was building the ark in the middle of a desert, and it made no sense at all to them. Eventually, it did come, and they did come to their senses. I think it was a matter of people being so very concerned about what they do with themselves and for themselves, not bothering about community. Because anybody who is bothered about community will have been asking for a long time why things were the way they were. And you just can't put it beyond all of the narrow-mindedness that drive our people in everything they do. So that's what I think happened until it got to everybody. Until it got to everybody, until it got to everybody personally. It didn't matter to them what other people were, feeling. When Niger Delta began to cry for their oil and gas, the agitation and all of what went with it, of course, other people kept on their journey. Then the Yoruba suffered the loss of Abiola, who won the election but got killed. Again, OPC and others joined the Yoruba space. Goni came to where Kensaruwa was hung and all of that. It just until it comes to their doorstep. The middle belt all this while until the killings began to go from house to house. They felt that it was these southern people that had to suffer for whatever, But gradually, as God will have it, it's gone round. Even the far north, where it was a matter of caliphate, born to rule, and all kinds of things, until Boko Haram came calling. They didn't believe they would be in any trouble, but now everybody's in trouble. But they were the ones who first, walked away from the union, the secular union, by imposing Sharia, which became breeding ground for Boko Haram that came to enforce it against the rest of us. Because I'm unable to make a distinction between what the 12 states that passed Sharia, were pursuing, and what Boko Haram came to pursue. As far as I can see, they are just on the same mission. They prefer Sharia to democracy. They prefer Sharia to constitutionalism. They prefer Sharia to secularism, in which we can't be in one union with people who owe it a duty of faith to kill us. So basically, the evil has gone round, and a lot of people, even the young people that came out protesting the other day, it was because SARS was chasing them and killing them like flies, that it became of interest to them to say, what's really going on around us? Why are we being killed like this? Why is our own police different from the police of the rest of the world? And all that. Before then, it was all about Man U and Arsenal and Big Brother, Nigeria, all kinds of things, just to keep the attention away from the only thing that should have. They were not asking why there will be no electricity. They will go and buy a generator. They were not asking why the roads they will fly. Instead of asking questions like, people, young people who normally ask such. But Nigeria, it wasn't the case until something landed on their own heads. They were being killed for reasons they couldn't fathom, and they came protesting that. And then it became clear to them there were so many other things, because they see corruption growing all around. They see infrastructure decaying. They see people stealing with impunity and doing all kinds of things with impunity. It didn't bother them until that inefficient and demonic police service came upon them. And then they began to run helter-skelter. If that is what it will take, you can imagine we've been on this since 1999. 3 weeks from the time the constitution was introduced, we told everybody there was no road there. And here we are. The union is run down. There's no possibility of even fixing it. We have to, like a building, you have to demolish before you reconstruct. That's how bad it is. So that's how we got here. Maybe it needed to land on everybody's head before they woke up. It's too much blood had flown, but thank goodness today is still early. If they wake up now, at least we can save the ones who have not been killed. Otherwise, Nigeria will take down everybody. We told them several years ago, Either we do away with 1999 Constitution or 1999 Constitution will do away with all of us. That's where we are now.
Okay, 60 years to independence. Last year there was a cry for something. Let's watch this video again, and then we'll frame all of the question around it. Some of this picture is costed from other people, AIT,
Right.
YYT, NFK, call it anything. Is actually being used for educational purpose and for reference purpose. Let's have a look at it.
And do you know that even the constitution that we use today, which is the 1999 constitution, denies what is called in law autochthony? In other words, there is no referendum, there is no plebiscite. The people of Nigeria did not vote to say, this is the constitution we want.
Yes.
It was imposed on us by a military decree, and yet it remains the ground norm. I mean, what a misnomer. We are not in a dictatorship, but we are running a constitution that we didn't vote for. And our administrative units have been carved on the basis of that constitution, supplanting our regional.
The constitution that operates in Nigeria today is a fraudulent, mischievous document foisted on Nigeria by a departing military junta. In fact, it is Decree 24 of 1999, which should have been a mere transitional instrument for governing a country of the stature and standing of Nigeria within the international community. I would have thought that the first item on the agenda of the government that came to power in 1999 was to address the issue of that constitution, its legitimacy. Because, like the Patriot observed, it told a lie against itself by saying that we Nigerians, under God, have agreed to live together, blah, blah, blah. There was no time when we were asked that question. And Nigeria, I believe, still requires what lawyers call an autochthonous constitution. A constitution that that captures the needs and interests of the Nigerians. A constitution that finds legitimacy in the eyes of the citizens, not one handed down from low and high by a military junta.
Our present extant constitution is an imposition of the military. A supreme military council that was not elected by anybody, that did not respect any known parameter in its recruitment except seniority in the army, that was lopsided in terms of its geographical identity of membership, imposed a constitution, enacted it like a legislation. It was not subjected to a plebiscite, it was not subjected to a referendum. In law, you say it's not autochthonous because the people did not agree that the 1999 constitution is their constitution. We didn't vote for its approval. So it's not cognizable in law as a valid constitution. It has been imposed of us by sheer force. And no government has had the courage to subject it to a national plebiscite. And if you do, most Nigerians will say this is not our constitution. We've created local government and states administrative structures that do not obey any known parameter. We've taken away the sovereignty of natural resources from our people and concentrated in an omnibus and amorphous federal government that is characterized by inefficiency over time.
Wole Soyinka, as a man of knowledge, has just expressed the fact, unlike individuals that parade themselves as professors of constitutional law and constitutional lawyers, senior advocates, and the rest, who still continue to defend the 1999 constitution as if it doesn't matter the source, it doesn't matter that it's a forged document, by claiming that the people made it and it has been shown that the people didn't make it, in a suit that was filed on behalf of Anthony Enaro, Wole Soyinka, Bishop Bonigi, Dokubo Asari, Ralph Wazurike, and a couple of others, Alhaji Yerima Shetima, who just gave that ultimatum.
Yeah,
He was part of the signatory to the lawsuit that was filed on their behalf by the Secretary General of the Lower Niger Congress.
I dare to tell this nation today that this is the problem. This constitution can never give us progress. This constitution can never give us peace. This constitution can never give us unity. And unfortunately, most of us in this National Assembly, we don't have the spine to face what we need to give this republic to have peace and progress. What do I mean? This constitution has 68 items. 68 on the exclusive list. This constitution has only 12 on the concurrent list, and those 12 are written so nebulously, so fraudulently, that you know that the intention is to even undermine those concurrent lists. The formal name of this republic is Federal Republic of Nigeria. Unfortunately, we don't run a federalist system in Nigeria. Otherwise, what is so unique about all those things that are in the exclusive list? In this chamber, we try to federalize the police system. In this chamber, we failed. Every crime is local, and the solution to every crime is local. The earlier that senators in Nigeria summoned the courage to say, we should not continue to deceive ourselves.
Nigeria is threatening everybody and groups. When we lie to ourselves and we're reaping the fruits of lying, we are victims of the lie that we call our own, the social contract, which is another name for the Constitution. We say we in Nigeria gave this Constitution to ourselves. We didn't. It was imposed. And it's not working. It's centralized. And the good things of life are not available for Nigerians. And they are crying. And you begin to blame them. You don't blame victims. You blame the system that produced the victims. This Constitution is not made by Nigerians. It's imposed. A federal constitution should be truly a federal constitution. You don't centralize everything. Nobody can fix this system. It's like putting square peg in round hole. It wouldn't work. It's not Buhari's fault, or Jonathan, or the previous ones. They were handed, and still being handed, instruments, i.e. the Constitution, that cannot work the way it is. Let us do an agreement. Constitution is an agreement that we agree to live together by these rules which we will spell out about governance. This current one is a fraudulent one, and it's giving us victimhood because we never did it, and they say we did it. If somebody say you did something that you not do, is that not a lie? We went to court, the case is in court, praying the court to say, look, the Nigerian people never did it. The court kept adjourning, part of the problem we have. The case is still in court. Inauro started it. A lot of distinguished men and women up and down this country had their signature there. The case has not been taken.
All right, we'll also anchor at that point, Dr. Amos.
I don't know what to say now. Putting a round peg in a square hole. This is what we've been doing for so long. And the funniest thing is that everybody seems to know that this is not going to work. But nobody dare take the horn by the bull. Jonathan was there. Obasanjo was there. Buhari was there. Are you telling me they don't know it's not going to work? Are you telling me they don't know it's not working? Tony, what do we have to do? How do we decommission this stupid thing? Over to you, sir.
Well, they were hoping, they probably were hoping that suddenly, things will sort out themselves and it will all blow away, but it's not looking like that at all. More people are getting killed, more hopelessness, enveloping the land. Nigeria has emerged the poverty capital of the world. Killings are happening on a scale that, outweigh even countries that are at war. And then suddenly we will have to, a country that produces 3 million barrels of crude oil, will have to import petrol from neighboring Niger Republic. At the time, we saw refineries being built with money sold by, money is coming from Nigeria. And we saw pipes being laid all the way to where the refineries were built. And now Nigerians will have to buy at international prices from the finished product, whereas there are 4 refineries. The only thing that, the reason we have to start from this angle of bringing the things people can see. Another regime of price hike, another round of increment in petrol price has happened. The only reason why these increments have been happening, will yet happen again, is that petrol is not being refined in Nigeria. The only reason petrol is not being refined in Nigeria is that refineries and oil and gas are locked down in the exclusive list of the 1999 Constitution. That's the only reason. If refineries are removed from that exclusive list today, in a matter of months, those who have the capacity to build refineries and run refineries, for goodness sake, Biafra, in between 1967 and 1970, vehicles were moving inside Biafra because they were refining their petrol by their local technology. It's not rocket science. It's just to boil, heat it up to heat the crude oil up to certain temperatures and remove the various products at various temperatures. That's all it is. Why has it become an undoable thing in Nigeria? How did it find its way into the exclusive list that states can no longer, either build the refineries or even license? A state like Lagos State can find a scores of people to license to process, petrol from crude oil. The River State and all kinds of, even individuals, several individuals. Dangote has now been given license, so we're going from government monopoly to individual monopoly. It's just madness. Unless that item is removed from the exclusive list, we'll continue to go from bad to worse. And for those who the Labour Congress and all kinds of people who routinely come to cry every time they see the outcome, we are showing them where the tap from which this evil is flowing is. They're not listening at all until it hits them on their own head. You go from that to electricity. The only reason we don't have electricity is because only the federal government can generate and transmit. Remove that item from that position of exclusive control, you immediately have all kinds of people with capacity to go out there and generate electricity. As it is with petroleum, so it is with electricity, so it is with all the other infrastructure, the ports and everything that is not working, the roads that are not there, all because they are locked down into that exclusive list. And people actually go to buy form to contest election, that they are coming to perform miracle. A constitution that creates corruption and guarantees the safety of the beneficiaries of corruption with the blanket immunity it gives to them. A constitution that removes, responsibility towards the citizen from government. A constitution that gives the spare key to the treasury, of the treasury to the heads of the executive branch. What else do you expect? A constitution that took the guns from everybody that need to defend themselves. Because of that exclusive list too, the people being killed in the middle belt. Nothing will change in all of these things we're pointing out. Elections that will always be upside down because there's only one INEC in Abuja, centralized to manage elections in Ijebu, manage elections in Offa, manage elections in Abakaliki, manage in Vandekia. So whoever they impose on you is what you get. All coming from, can you see that in all of what we've talked about, there's only one source of the problem. Yes. The Niger Delta that are agitating for the return of their resources, they call resource control. The OPC that said they had to take back control of the internal security of Yoruba land. Those who are shouting Biafra and Odua Republic, they are all saying the same thing, constitutional grievances. What are those grievances? We had a federation in which we agreed on how the regions will control their assets and contribute to the center. It's been truncated and replaced by something that now make everybody the asset of the center. And that center has in turn been hijacked by the Fulani, who are now just right in our faces, destroying whatever is left, killing whoever has to be killed, bringing Fulani to resettle in the spaces, owned by the indigenous nationalities, and now building another economy with monies taken from here, right? In our view, not hiding and pointing guns at everybody simply because that constitution has taken away everybody's capacity to say no. So we've come to where enough number of our people are waking up to say this constitution, that is this tap from which all these evils are flowing, must now go down, like the Apartheid constitution. Whatever was the reason of Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, Governor Mbeki, Nelson Mandela, Winnie Mandela, whatever was their reason for rejecting the Apartheid constitution and insisting on taking it down wholesale, is our reason today for saying that this 1999 constitution that makes us slaves in our land must go down. Those who are talking about the election in 2023, everybody should ask them, by what constitution will you govern when you win? The charlatans from Eastern Nigeria, let me tell us what's going on, because it will be everybody's business in the coming days. The charlatans who have been offered the presidency of Nigeria, these people who impose this constitution, they know that we have that the onslaught against that constitution, you put our signature on a document we didn't make. A document that take our assets and confiscate our rights. A document that render us slaves in our land. You put our signature on it to say we, the people, made it. And we've endured it for 21 years. And we've come to where we're saying the document must go. Everything is closing in on the document to take it down. Then you find the people who impose the document looking around for who will help them save the document. And they find the eastern side as where they can play the game. So, okay, all of you come and preside for a moment. That's what's going on. They want to use that to save the constitution. Those who are ganging up and gearing up to take their turn at the presidency of Nigeria under the constitution that is dispensing debt and attrition to everybody else, you are going to find yourself on a head-on collision with all these people who have been shot at, all these people whose lives have been rendered unlivable, wherever you are. It's a choice. Are we coming to join you if we go to election with you? We're only saying we're happy, with being killed. We're happy with being slaves in our land. Anybody who is still talking about going to another election under this constitution, back to your question, what do we do to end this trauma? We can tell our people at this time that the little thing we need to do to end this trauma is to tell the politicians to close shop, to tell the political parties to close. Only political parties contest election. Only political parties contest election. And if we do not stop them from dragging us to another election, we are signing up for another 4 years that will begin in 2023 of this enslavement. If we say to them today, you can no longer take us to another election because the winner of that election will have to swear to and govern by this constitution. If we say it seriously enough, there's no reason why we can't stop them. And we're not talking about the party that is in Sokoto or Kano. We're talking about the ones in our immediate neighborhoods. All the political parties, there's no other business they are doing. They want to be governor, they want to be senator, they want to be council chairman. The rest of us can tell them that
they want to embezzle money.
That's the reason they want to go to become those things. Senator will take 50 million every month. Governor will go take 5 billion every month and unaccountable to anybody. That's all they are pursuing. Their friends who help them to win will become board chairmen in companies where monies have been stolen. And so that's all they're interested in. They are living in another world, but they're doing it in our name. Our signature is on the document that authorizes it. So we say, is it not within our reach to tell them, because all of them do not come to even 1%. All of those in government house, all of the army and police that guide them from the rest of us, they are not up to 2 million. How many governors do we have? 36 governors. How many senators? 109. How many House of Rep members? Okay, 360. Include all the state assemblies at an average of 30 per state, we still come to nothing. Nothing near 2 million. Because if we are 200 million people, 1% is 2 million people. Yeah. All the army and police put together, police is about 385,000. Army and police and army and air force and all of them come to about 270,000. Put all of them together. So even if you bring the council chairman, and all the commissioners and ministers, everybody that will be elected if we go to election, everybody that will be appointed if we go to election, put all of them together, plus the police and army that will guide them from the populace that has to die. All of them do not come to 1%. Can't the rest of the people stand up and say, we cannot go to renew our enslavement in 2023, and tell them so inside 2020 and get them to close shop? There's nothing else the political parties are doing than to contest election and then go and get the benefit guaranteed them under this constitution. The same constitution that guarantee our misery. The same constitution that tie our hands to the back. So what has happened now is that there is a joint action. There was a plan. There was a plan that had to be spread over a period of 20 years to come to where enough people are enlightened about what the problem is, and such that they can act together. That plan began with a meeting of all, PRONACO, in 2005, when we called the nationalities, all of the nationalities that are wedged together by Britain in the name they call Nigeria. Since the federation we agreed upon had been truncated, and we got into this downward spiral, we said government was not listening, so we called a meeting of the nationalities, the owners of the land, the owners of the enterprise. That meeting lasted almost 2 years. We sat in Lagos, sat in Port Harcourt, sat in Enugu, sat in Jos, sat in Kano, came back to conclude in Lagos. The US sent us a mission. European Union sent us a mission. Buhari was part of the Fulani delegation that came. Syed Abubakar, the one that Sultan in Sokoto, was part of the Fulani delegation. There's nothing we're talking about now that had not been discussed eyeball to eyeball with all of these people from all these sides. But because they are more interested in going to get these things they get when they get to power, that's why they are standing on the other side. And then the rest of the populace that do not know how they got into their lack of electricity, some actually think that if you go buy transformer, you get electricity. In a country of 200 million people that's sharing 5,000 megawatts of electricity, and you find people with education, Fashola, telling us how it might go to 10,000 megawatts for 200 million people. When you lock down the capacity to generate electricity and transmit, you lock it down with your exclusive list. What are we going to do? What are we going to do to get to development where we can't do our road, we can't do our railway, we can't do our port, we can't do anything? We can't even provide our own security. We can't elect who will govern us. And the country is plunging downward and downward, and people are still going around talking about whose turn it is to come and preside over the road. It is within our reach to tell the political parties to hold them down and say to them, you cannot take us to another election. Whatever be the nature of the fight they want, let everybody who wants to get out of this mess stop them in 2020 from going to another election, preparing for. We're not talking about boycott. Boycott is they just ignore you. If it's 10 people that come, they will declare a winner. Not boycott. Boycott is already too late. What we're talking about is to shut down the journey to another election in 2023, and that shutdown must begin with a joint, proclamation on our decision to halt, this movement to another election. The moment we do that, everybody will come down from their high horse and come to the table. We go to the transition the kind South Africa did in 1990 with apartheid. There's no other way to go. There's no difference between what we have now and the apartheid constitution of South Africa as regards how the blacks were made slaves in their land by a constitution imposed by a tiny minority of Boers. Today in Nigeria is the Fulani that have become the Boers that impose a constitution of master and servant, a constitution that seizes everybody's assets, which they are now allocating to their own people with an ethnic cleansing operation going on to remove the owners of the land and bring in Fulani from all over Africa. We saw the governor of Bauchi telling us that Fulani from all over Africa belong to Nigeria. And we're all sitting here like people under a spell. You see what I mean?
Can I point something out?
Is it not within our reach to do?
Can I point out something to you before we go ahead again?
Yes.
So many people have been saying, how do we shut down the constitution? How do we take it down?
Yes.
How do we do this?
Yes.
We talk. But our governors, our senators are still helping these people to achieve their aim because that is what they want to do. They give them peanuts and rob us of our bread. And they don't know what they're doing. Our senators, our governors, our leaders, they don't seem to know what is happening in the world today. They just think this is the best way to go. They just think this is the ideal way to deal with things. They didn't realize that even though they might be enjoying some few things this year, but very soon their children and grandchildren will have to pay for it. Our people are our problems. We are our own problem. We are the cause of our own mystery because we like to ignore things. Things you're supposed to deal with now, you like to ignore it until it becomes too late. And this is what I've seen with loads and loads of our people. If it's not my problem yet, it can wait until it becomes your problem. But it won't take long. Look at Lagos, for example. They've been thinking things are going to work out, things are going to work out, things are going to work out. Somebody else will come and solve the problem. But can I tell you one thing? Lagos is going to become another Ilorin very soon. Because they're going to have Emir in Lagos if care is not taken. And Sanwo-Olu, the idiot man, is actually agreeing to it, supporting it in one way or the other. Instead of the legislative in Lagos saying this is not going to happen. And we can't restructure. We can't, like Dele Rotimi said, we can't keep building on top of a false foundation. We can't keep doing that. Because the more you do that, the more you deceive yourself, the more you lie to yourself, the more you don't know exactly what is going on. Can I ask you one question, Tony?
Yeah.
Honest question. How exactly can we undertake this urgent task to decommission and jettison the 1999 Constitution? Because the problem is,
thank you,
we have so much in our urgent hurry now to do that. So how do we do that?
Like I said before, there was a process, there was a strategy and a roadmap, spread over 20 years with timelines in 5 phases, which began with Pronaco. We finished with Pronaco in 2006. By 2007, we went to court with several plaintiffs, including Anthony Nohoro, Shoyinka, Ojukwu, Sisi-Ono, Bishop Bodigi, Asari, Dokubo, Wazurike, Fred Agbegbe, Bankoloki, who was then chairman of the body of senior advocates in Nigeria. The task of filing that challenge on the legitimacy, the challenge against the legitimacy of the 1999 Constitution, to the extent that it says that we, the people who made the document, we never made, fell on me. And so we filed that suit to give Nigeria an opportunity of solving this matter under a roof instead of on the street. The same way Czechoslovakia chose to solve their own problem under the roof, but Yugoslavia ignored the problem until it solved itself on the street. Those are the choices that have to be made now. But in that plan, we went from providing the alternative to setting in motion something to take down what was there. But gradually, in going to court, what we asked the court to do is to order, a transition that will be no more than 18 months, retaining those already in government house to be in government. We're not quarreling with the discussion we're having is above the level of people in government house. The discussion we're having is amongst the owners of the enterprise. The Yoruba that could be country of 50-55 million people if Nigeria were to cease to be today. The eastern side that could be country of Lower Niger could be country of 70 million people. That's south and southeast together as nationalities could be country of 70 million people if Nigeria does not hold today. The middle belt would be a country bigger than more than half of the countries of the world if Nigeria fails today. And all of us are rejecting 2 things. We are rejecting Sharia imposed by the 12 contiguous states of the far north. We are rejecting the constitution that was that was imposed to keep us subjugated in our homeland. And so, if all of us are agreed that we cannot be in a union of master and servant as dictated by that small section, we have called a meeting that involved everybody, including them, and we've gone to court to set up an orderly process by which we can discuss and go back to what we agreed to do originally. Like the guest you showed in the video clip was suggesting that we should go back to the basis of being one political union, the original agreement. That's all they talk about, this restructuring. Then we went from that court, outing in 2007 to 2011, that we came together. That's the East, the Lower Niger, the Yoruba, and the Middle Belt as movement for the MNN alliance. We came together to mandate ourselves to go back and work out the constitutions that will, since those who impose Sharia, since those who impose this constitution were not going to listen to anybody. They were progressing more in the opposite direction, fetching more guns to shoot at anybody that complains about anything, and then bringing in Boko Haram and ISIS to help themselves to get to power. And immediately they got to power, you saw what they began to do with power. The same joint venture of ISIS and Boko Haram that produced the presidency of 2015, deployed the one they call Fulani herdsmen that began to overrun communities and replace them with Fulani that had been invited from all over the place. And so it became a matter of, look, go and work out your constitutions so that we can all exercise this right to self-determination when we take down this constitution. We didn't want anarchy. So Yoruba done their own, they culminating in that solemn assembly we saw in Ibadan on the 7th of September in 2017. Before then, the Lower Niger, the nationalities of the Lower Niger had done their own on the 27th of April in 2015. People can go on YouTube right now, just click Solemn Assembly of the Peoples of Lower Niger. You will see the George Ogoni, the Anang, the Efik, the Igbo under one roof in Port Harcourt, telling the global community that they are fed up with this union of master and servant as defined by that constitution. Yoruba did the same in their own solemn assembly. The Middle Belt did the same on the 18th of July in 2018 in Makurdi. So having all repudiated that constitution so loudly, we went on to the next step of going to what we call the Freedom Park Proclamation, where we notified everybody that we will not want to go to, we will not be available to go to another election under this constitution. Of course, the politicians will not listen, and they just rushed everybody into what became what we have seen. That there was yet another election in 2019 that gave them another 4 years to continue what they were doing. You look at what had been happening since 1999. Have we not been having election every 4 years? What has it changed other than making things worse? Because the tap from which all these evils are flowing is the constitution. No matter who you bring, even if you bring angels to come and run Nigeria now under this constitution, they will fail. You can't fetch water with basket. Let us turn off the tap instead of mopping. You mop for corruption, you mop for infrastructure, you mop for leadership failure, you mop for mediocrity. How long will you do the mopping? Let us turn off the tap so that people can regain their lives. So having given that notice in Freedom Park Proclamation by what we call, because the organizations that were trying to rally our people all this while, there was Lower Niger Congress there was Yoruba Congress there was Middle Belt Congress there. Eventually, the nationalities began to come out. So in the Freedom Park Proclamation, it was actually the nationalities that now came at the invitation of the organizations. So it became, they came out as a Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination. And those who want to join in this task, you asked a question, what exactly do we have to do to take down this constitution? I invite all of those who are listening to get on the website of that Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination. It's called www.freedomfromnigeria.com. That's what it is. If you get on that website, you get day-to-day information for what your role should be, for what the political parties, as the ones sustaining the constitution, were rejecting. Since we've taken all the trouble and all the processes to get that rejection as formally as possible before all the stakeholders, home and abroad, we have even taken the trouble to go to explain to the external, the stakeholders, the ones who may have some investment here or some security thing here to do, particularly the US. We've taken the trouble to go to explain to them why we can't continue in this union of death as imposed on us by this constitution. And so the finishing act, the answer to your question is that we will have to stop the politicians, the political parties, particularly the political parties, because they're the ones who contest the election, on account of the fact that the winner of the election will govern with the constitution that create our problems. We have to now stop them. In the coming days, in fact, before the jingle bell become loud enough, there will be a joint multi-regional action to set in motion what will stop the journey to election. People have to watch out for it. We call it Constitutional Force Majeure, because the Constitution, like we had Chief Modo say in the video you used to introduce, you played before, that the Constitution is a social contract. Professor Yobodo also says so in the video. The Constitution is a social contract. Now, as in every contract, if there arises, extraordinary circumstances that make the execution of the contract, impossible, parties usually provide that force majeure as a clause by which they can suspend obligations under that contract. So our social contract, the Constitution of Nigeria, has been overtaken by these extraordinary circumstances we've listed before. We agreed to be a secular union. Some people have imposed Sharia. We agreed to be a federation. We've been taken away from that by the unitarism decreed by this constitution, by a small segment of the country. We agreed to be a union of equal partnership, equal opportunity. It is no longer so, because there is quota system here and all kinds of things. We agreed to be a union in which life will be held sacrosanct. It's no longer so, because there are people who owe it a duty of faith to kill others who they call infidels. We agreed to be a democracy, but now we're in a feudal setting of master and servant. A civilization that does not believe that all men are born equal. These are the things that depart from the fundamental agreement. We are no longer a federation. We're no longer a secular union. We're no longer a union of equal partnership. In our union, life is no longer sacrosanct, because some people must kill others to please their own God. So we say these are more than enough of extraordinary circumstances arising at the base of our social contract. And all of us who are the receiving end of all of this, who have been waiting since 1967 for us to conclude the discussion that took place in Aburi, have organized ourselves and put in place what we want in place of what we are rejecting. We look in the direction of South Africa for how to manage the process from the time we begin. It's not rocket science. We actually wrote an open memo to President Buhari on the 16th of November in 2018, when he went to France to berate those who are talking about restructuring as people who didn't know what they were looking for. And we said, no, it's not so. You were part of the process at the time we were doing Pronaco. How come, did you just forget? And all the time, all the things we were doing, in advancement of what we collectively agreed upon. At the time we were doing that, Tinubu, your party henchman, was governor in Lagos. At that same time, Fashola, your minister, was chief of staff in Tinubu's governor's office. And, Shebajo was attorney general, who was there in the background guiding them on all kinds of things. So who amongst them are we going to coming to explain anything about this matter? At what point did they forget the meaning of federation? That they'll be sitting in Abuja and telling us that they're about to fix electricity for all of us. They're about to fix road for all of us. They're about to do trader money. You go and start giving out 10 and 20,000 naira or 30,000 to other people's children to go and do what with? If they take even 50,000, how is that going to provide electricity for them? How is that going to provide security for them? When people are, circling them up and killing them off and taking their land. And we say, let us go and sort it out. You sit in Abuja and deploy police to go and kill people, deploy soldiers to go and disperse those who are asking for equity. In the coming days, they are going to have to count their numbers against the number of people they are choking to death. Right now, the political parties will be on the firing line for refusing to listen to the owners of the land who say we can no longer go to election under this constitution. The political parties are still hanging around, debating among themselves whose turn it is to go and to preside over the rape of the rest of the people. They are going to be confronted by those who have been killed, by those whose lives have been ruined. Young people have done their part, they've gone to school, but nothing to employ them. The economy is ruined. The naira is on a free fall, and we're bringing ourselves more to where we have to depend on imports. And somebody will say he's going to fight corruption under this constitution that creates corruption and protects its beneficiary, under this constitution that makes production impossible, under this constitution that makes development impossible. And young people are running away to every part of the world, anywhere but Nigeria. And look at what their organs are being harvested all over the world. The ones at home come out to say, why are things like this? You send soldiers to go and shoot at them, and they begin to lie in 21st century. Who do you want to lie to? Why are you embarrassing us before the global community? Something that happened, it was captured in satellite, people recorded it, it's all over the place. Families that bury dead bodies are there to be. How do you want to say it the way you are saying it? And the same military, the same government had told several stories of the same incident. First they said no soldier shot anybody. Then they say it's hoodlum soldier. Then they say, oh, it's an empty bullet. Which of those stories are we to take now? The whole world is watching. And so what we have to do, and it shouldn't take more than a few weeks to do, if our people will listen to us.
Few weeks?
Let everybody who is talking about the election, the enemy we're identifying now, positively identifying, is the political party. All of the political parties, because they all subscribe to this constitution of damnation. All of them. PDP, APC, ABGA, Young People's Party, all of them subscribe to this constitution of death. So we're identifying them as the ones sustaining this misery. And we are telling our people, wherever they are on the face of the world, it is the political parties that have to be stopped from dragging us to another election that will elongate the life of this document. In this period, we insist on going to transition, like South Africa did to ease itself out of apartheid. It is in that transition period that we'll now go to the exact things we need to do to rework the basis, the damaged constitutional basis of the union. Nigeria ceased to be a federation since 1966. We have been held here against our will since then. And it takes more and more violence to be able to sustain it. How many people do you want to kill? You've impoverished them to the point where they are now the global study on poverty. People whose lives were stable. Because you are making rules, and in all of it, some people may think it's incompetence. No, it goes beyond incompetence. If it's incompetence, they will not shut down all the refineries and hand over the license to Dangote to go and build another refinery in Lagos. Where would the crude oil he will be processing come from? You are not addressing the Niger Delta agitation. You award license for refining, which states cannot handle, which states are not permitted under your constitution to do.
The individual can do that.
You confiscate all the limestone in the land and hand over to Dangote. He becomes richest man in Africa. You hand over the port of Lagos, half of the port of Lagos to him. He doesn't have to deal with customs. But his competitors have to. So he's doing he has his port, he has his refinery, he has his half of Port Harcourt port in One is given to another company called Intel. Go to the map of Nigeria and see what will emerge. Who is the owner of Intel? Who is the owner of Intel in Port Harcourt? Atiku Abubakar. You confiscate the assets of the owners of the land. All of you from one small section of the country. And you sit and tell us it's federal government of Nigeria. In the army, in the military of Nigeria, you are the only ones who can preside over all the armed agencies. And you tell us it's Army of Nigeria. You come to NNPC, you tell us it's Nigerian National Petroleum, whereas it's being presided over by the same set of people from that small segment of the country. So will I be wrong if I say it's Fulani Army of Nigeria? Will I be able to, if I say it's Fulani federal government of Nigeria or Fulani NNPC of Nigeria? We just cannot continue like this. There's no war bigger than the one we already caught in. If our people will listen to us and do the little we ask them to do, we are declaring an emergency around the Constitution. It's called Constitutional Force Majeure. In the coming days, it will be in the public place. If our people will listen to us and do the little we ask them to do, tell the political parties you are not going to another election in 2020, in 2023. Let that be said loud and clear in 2020. Let all of those who wish to see an end to their misery face those political parties and force they must close shop until we have decided the constitution by which the winner will govern in going to another election. Okay. If we do this in a matter of weeks, we'll see the back of that constitution. If we don't do it, they are struggling to take us to another election. We'll see what is worse, far worse than what we have seen already. Okay. The Naira is collapsing every hour.
Okay, let me go here. Maybe we need to educate ourselves a little bit more, because there's some more pressing things to what is going on around us than what we're talking about as well. Most of our problems are ourselves. I call it the evil within us. Instead of facing reality and facing the problem, we're antagonizing ourselves. That one will say Tony is not good. That one will say everything. Why are you doing that? That one will say that, and that one will say that. The only thing we want to do is to talk about the evil things. We are more prone to entertainment than fixing our future. If you look at things so many ways, from so many angles, people will be happy with entertaining story than listening to Tony, who is actually giving us a way out. This is his way out. And he said, if all of us can pursue within the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we will say that we're going in the right direction. Well, you know what? Our people will never do that. If you cannot choreograph things, you're wasting your time. If you don't coat your words with sugar and salt, so that it's appealing to the ear of the world, people don't care. People don't want to know. But the problem is, we're all in this problem together. People will ask, what is the solution? Yes, we've been talking about the solution now. I've picked up so many solutions. Some people will tell you to boycott election. But don't state it categorically, please don't boycott election. If you said, oh, Yoruba will not produce any governorship for Oyo, Lagos and this, they have their own people who say they want to contest election in 2023 already. So you're having a laugh. I think we need to go up more than where we are. We need to educate ourselves more, provided you want to be educated. Because some of us don't want to hear all this. I've seen some few things online. 80% of people are happy with what Tony is saying. But there's some few minorities, maybe about 5%, are just here to cause trouble. And I thank all these people giving it back to them, telling them exactly where to go, where they need to be. Is this what will solve our problem? Can this solve our problem? Should we pursue this or not? Some people don't care. All they care about is how can we make ourselves laugh. Some people, when they want to bring people down, that's what they fight for. Yeah, he's been telling you the way out for some time now. He said we need to take out the source of the problem. We should disturb political party, which is disturb the agenda. How many people has gone? Not up to 1 million, or not up to 2 million of these people has gone. But they're controlling the 2 million or 1 million of people that has gone are controlling on 200 million. Because we let them get away with it. Our governors, our senators, are our main problem at the moment. We need to discourage them. We need to make sure we go after them in a way that they will realize that this is not going to happen again. It's not good for us. It's not the best way forward. Can I tell you one thing? You are the source of your own mystery and problems. We are the source of our problem. We are the one creating more problems for ourselves daily. We are the one giving ourselves a heart attack. Because until we look at things with the critical eyes and said, what is the best way forward? And the best way forward is to do things the right way. We've been explaining how to decommission this problem. Let me ask Tony the next question. I hope he's ready for me on this one. Tony, completely.
I'm here.
Against the backdrop of the growing clamor against the 1999 Constitution, what is your readings to the sudden pace of altercation, decamping among political actors from southeastern Nigeria in what seems like a posturing towards 2023? Case study. If you look at some senators, APC senator, going to visit the last PDP presidential candidate of Jonathan Goodluck, and Governor David Umar of Ebonyi State. What is your take on this one? What do you think we need to do? What do you think needs to happen, Tony?
No, they like I said, it's very clear to us what's going on. But they're just gambling. They're just gambling, hoping that nobody will discover them. Too late in the day. The Constitution will go down. That they already know. The people who imposed the Constitution, I'm sure we will all recall that not too long ago, Professor Yadudu, Awalu Yadudu, the one that was Abacha's chief, handmaid for, how this decree number 24 eventually, he was the one that processed the Constitution that would have kept Abacha as life president. Then Abacha dropped dead on all of them. Then Absalom Abaka retained him to help process that same Constitution, to help more or less midwife it into being. And that was what emerged in 1999 as the Constitution of Nigeria. Now, Professor Yadudu raised alarm when he began to put the two and two of it all together, that this onslaught against this falsehood, against this forgery, against this fraud of a constitution by those who are suffering under it will truncate the legal basis of the union. He identified it. And so those people who created this union of master and servant are now under the apprehension that that constitution will go down, because the collapse of that constitution is the end of the union. For all of those who are looking for how to get to do a republic, and all of those who are looking to how to get to Biafra, it is to take down this constitution. All of them who are looking for restructuring. You can't be looking for restructuring and still be planning to go to another election that will sustain the life of the constitution that make you, the unitary system you are. You are being dishonest. If you say you want an end to this constitution, and you're also one of those preparing to go to election under that constitution in 2023. Now, it is because they realize that that constitution is going down. They are throwing a lifeline, something that will save it, by giving up power. Because initially, not too long ago, they were telling us that nobody can come to challenge them. They have the number. The North will not allow anybody to come. Like they were boasting very arrogantly all over the place, talking about who amongst them they advertise El-Rufai, they advertise Sanusi, they advertise all kinds of characters. And then suddenly it dawns on them that this constitution is going down. In order to buy the life of that constitution back, they want to throw power, and they see that it may well be better to go to the east. And I hear some going to talk with Jonathan to come. If Jonathan defeated you in the election of 20, you can confess now. It's not too late in the day that he defeated you in the election. But it will not be through election in 2023 that Jonathan will come to. If you are suggesting that Jonathan should come and head a transition, because it is transition that will happen from the time this constitution begins to go down. A transition, Jonathan can well lead a transitioning. All of those who brought us to where we are now, the most honorable thing they can do is to step away from the arena. We must go into that transition now and go into the kind of meeting that can discuss the future of the union. The National Assembly that is hanging around to say that they would go and fix it for us by way of amendment. How many days ago did the House of Reps, published their own advertorial? The other day it was the Senate of Abuja. All of our own people sitting in that Senate, sitting in that House of Representatives, that is now appropriating our sovereignty, along with the soldiers that first appropriated in 1999. You are committing treason against all of us. It is our sovereignty you are trying to grab from us. It is our sovereignty you are now telling us belongs to you. For which reason you are the one to make constitution for us. We are saying we have not discussed, we have not made any constitution. Our life is being ruined by the constitution you are hanging on to. And you sit with the enemy that imposed it, inviting us to come and meet you in the place. Nobody is going to pay attention to any of you. You are committing treason against all of us. We have not made a constitution. You have not become the owner of our sovereignty. If you do not understand what we are saying, go and read section 14.2a of that constitution. Any senator in Abuja, any house member in Abuja, you don't need to be a lawyer. Get a copy of the constitution and read section 14.2a. What it contains is this, and I quote, it says, sovereignty belongs to the people, from whom government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. I repeat, sovereignty belongs to the people, from whom government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. That is what section 14.2a of your constitution says. And that is an acknowledgement of the fact that only the Yoruba, sitting with the Tiv, sitting with the Doma, sitting with the Igbo, will decide first to commit their lands and their people into a union. That's what we, the people, you see in the preamble, represent. That we have firmly and solemnly resolved to live in unity as one indivisible country. It is in the pretense that the people of Nigeria had decided to live in the union, and therefore do hereby make and give unto ourselves the following constitution, as you see in that preamble too. That's again a false claim. The first part of the claim is false, that we have submitted our lands and our people into the union. The second part of the claim is also false, that we have therefore made and given unto ourselves the following constitution. That is the complaint against that constitution. Over and above all the exclusive lists, over and above all the 36 states that were imposed, over and above all the 7 local government areas, over and above all the provisions that enable corruption, because it gives the spare key to the treasury to those who head the executive branch.
Yeah.
All of this, all of those from the south and middle belt who sit in Abuja discussing how to make and remake constitution to the exclusion of the sovereign constituents of the union. You are committing treason against the rest of us, and you will be held accountable for your role in that criminality, because your pursuit is to get the 50 million you take home every month. Other people can go and die. Your pursuit is to remain in the balloon you live in, while millions of people, the people you claim to represent, will go to die with no future at all. You have to make up your mind whether you want to remain with the enemy that is killing the people, or you want to join the people to salvage themselves from being killed, from being dehumanized, from being impoverished further. Those who are angling around in the east for how they take their turn, they are putting themselves on a head-on collision with all of those who are saying they don't want to remain slaves in the land, in their homeland. Let that day not come when you will be counted as one of those who helped sustain this constitution that enslaved your own people. it will be a sad day. But I can also warn us, I can also inform us that that day is not far. It's a choice that has to be made to come and join your people or to stay with the enemy. That constitution will be the dividing line. Anybody that can be counted on the side of that constitution will have the people to contend with, will have those who have been killed, those whose lives have been ruined to contend with.
Okay, can I ask you one question, Tony? These are all the former way of doing things. What about the informal way of doing things? Is the Lower Niger people, the IPOB, are they doing anything with their traditional power to fight the aggressor by any chance? Do you know anything about that?
I wouldn't know. Everybody who is in trouble will do whatever they find to do to solve their trouble. So we know that in the Yoruba space, for instance, we know the history of how they fight their wars. There may be other people who also, Besu, for instance, out there in the Jordan. All kinds of people have all kinds of things. The one we're doing is the one I'm talking about. The rest of the people can do. I'm sure that what's the Hunters Club in Yoruba land, the one they call Bekoya.
Yes.
We were in the 64-65 commotion of Wild Wild West up to 1983 of Omobori War. Eggs were thrown at buildings and the buildings caught fire. So who knows? We may come to where all of those will come back, but it's the one we're doing that I'm talking about.
Okay. Maybe we need to bring the egg back. And we need to bring it back urgently. The eggs needs to be awoken. The spirit of the egg needs to be awoken from whenever they are sleeping currently. And they all have to come back. Because we're not going to be facing people who are arming themselves, Kachu, Rearak, X-Men, Akari, AK-47. I remember yesterday, Governor Akeredolu said the Amotekun are not allowed to carry guns.
Yeah.
But X-Men are not allowed to carry guns because they value the life of their cow more than the value of the citizen of their country. And they want to bring every Fulani man from every part of the world of Africa to come and start living in Nigeria so that they can enjoy the benefit and the resources of the land called Nigeria. Tony, I want to thank you very much for what you've been doing. The NSA processors, 2 or 4, some people said they might be coming back. Have you heard anything about that?
Well, I saw some advertisement, something going around in the social media. That's all. But I can tell you that the protesters, like you heard them say at the toll gate, Lekki toll gate, epicenter of the protest, they already identified this constitution as the source of all the problems they are complaining about. They are very much in camp now. The ones who really want to solve the problem, not the hoodlums that were deployed to go and scatter what they were doing. The ones who set out to look for solutions, genuine solutions to the problem, are completely with this, coming, impending constitutional force majeure.
Okay, so what we need to start doing now is actually looking at the way of protecting them to make sure they don't get killed.
Yeah, no, this time, the other time the protest just erupted, spontaneously from an incident in Benin or somewhere. Now they've had the time to examine what options are there. There will be, a charter of demands with options of how to solve, to meet those demands and timelines for when those demands will be met. There'll be a strategy for pushing those demands through, and it's all, revolving around that one item, the constitution that has to go down, the transition that must follow, and all the processes to produce successor constitutional arrangements away from the one we are rejecting, in that order. So their demands will be carefully crafted, and their strategy will be in place. Their team, the team that will talk to anybody who wishes to discuss the matter, of course, because the charter of demands are now better articulated, will be better articulated. Of course, it won't be a matter of just selecting who you want from one corner or the other to go and corner. You saw what Gambari went to do in Enugu. Him and his ministers from Eastern Nigeria, they went to Enugu, talking whatever they told those ones who now are jumping from PDP to APC to go and take the next law. Then they slated a meeting with the Niger Delta governors and the traditional rulers. You saw what happened in the place. Instead of going to meet, you want to meet the NSAS people in one corner, you want to meet the East in one corner, you want to meet the Niger Delta in one corner. All of those shenanigans will not work anymore. There's only one demand. Those charlatans that come to meet with you in the corner will not be speaking on behalf of the people who have identified the problem they want to solve. Anything all of you do, who will take president, who will be vice president, who will get the new railway after they finish the one of Niger. There must be an end to this shenanigans. That's where we are.
Okay. When before the 2015 election, Buhari said he will get refinery working. He said that, and they managed to get some refinery working, but only in Niger Republic, Niger Republic, in the country called Niger Republic, and that is what he has managed to do. He promised a lot of changes. And this is the changes we have. Can we say the problem is with Buhari, or the problem is only with the Constitution, or with both of them?
Somebody imposed is a caliphate. Is a caliphate. Buhari just one element. Is a caliphate that has their allegiance is not to you or Nigeria. Nigeria is grazing field for them. That's all that is. So it is a matter of you think they are building the same country with you. They are not building any country with you. They see you as nuisance in their inheritance. They say it belongs to them. They want to eliminate you and take it over and give to the Fulani from everywhere else. And so if anybody is still thinking that they are planning, they don't know that the Naira is collapsing, or that the infrastructure is gone dead, and they are building all the railways and refineries they have to build in the place where they are building it, such a person needs to go to examine his own head. The people are not building any Nigeria with you. They are destroying Nigeria in order to take it over and add to their caliphate that extends beyond Nigeria. Unless we realize that, we'll continue to get to deceive ourselves and not in
Okay, I think we're trying to get to the thing back. We're still waiting for it. No, it hasn't come back. Okay, I think it's back now. You're back now. You're back now. Okay, let's break a little bit of your language down a little bit. Explain caliphate to my audience so that they know exactly what it is. Because we've been hearing about this and nobody has actually taken the horn by the bull by the horn to actually explain this caliphate word. How does it work? What does it mean? Explain it to them. Maybe this might open their mind a little bit.
The Fulani came from the foot of Futajalo Mountain on a jihad. They arrived in the place you call Sokoto today, in their conquest. It was in 1804 that they raised their flag in that place as having overrun the owners of the place. And they began to expand. So it was a Fulani caliphate. They were building an empire of their own. Then the British came almost 60 years after that from the Atlantic waterfront. And it was there were like two robbery gangs on the same mission against the same targets. And so Along the line, the British brought all of what they got, colony of Lagos, protectorate of southern Nigeria, and all of that, joining with the area already controlled by that caliphate that was on an invasion. So from the beginning, they came on an attempt to conquer and colonize. But the British, more or less stopped them halfway. But the two of them they formed a joint venture. The name of that venture is Nigeria. The marriage was conducted in 1914, and the two of them are still the owners of that joint venture to the exclusion of everybody else. And so that caliphate is just like those who want to get to the root of this problem will not fail to see the role of Buckingham Palace and Britain in all of what has happened to us. The same way, as you are looking at Buckingham Palace, you better look at Sokoto Palace and Kano Palace. Because it is the joint venture between the Buckingham Palace and the Sokoto Palace that owns this Nigeria you have now, that controls this Nigeria you have now, that imposed the constitution that you have now. It is that joint venture. If you remember when Prince Charles came, if you remember when John Kerry came, look at all the pictures, look at where they went and who they were discussing with. It is that joint venture that is the owner of Nigeria. It is that constitution we are rejecting now that is the instrument by which they are controlling that joint venture. So the caliphate is that Fulani empire as operated by those who are sitting in Sokoto and elsewhere today, of course sending people to go and be in government house in Abuja. They have agents all around.
Okay.
They have agents in your backyard and my backyard. The governor of my state in eastern Nigeria, who will swear to defend and uphold this constitution imposed by that caliphate, is an agent of that caliphate. The senator, the house member, your governor, everybody who can swear to defend and uphold this constitution of master and servant imposed by that joint venture of Britain and Sokoto is a part of that caliphate, is a part of that joint venture, is an agent of that joint venture. They are not on your side of this debate. They are on the side of keeping things the way it used to be for the joint venture, for the benefit they get for themselves, nothing more.
Okay. Good question.
So the caliphate is that Fulani hegemony that found a way to impose this constitution and controlling all of what happens. The ownership of everything in Nigeria is now sequestered through something they call Federal Government of Nigeria. But go and look at those controlling all the instruments. Even when some other person comes to become president, they are going to worry Jonathan now. I know that Jonathan himself knows that it's all stupidity, not even a joke.
So why can't Jonathan? Why did Obasanjo didn't do this, dismantle this? Why did Jonathan didn't dismantle this when they have the time? Why did all these people didn't dismantle this? Jonathan set out to dismantle. Jonathan set out to get us out of this mess. Yeah. It was that joint venture that made sure that it didn't happen. If you remember, the first decision taken on the floor of the conference, people are now pointing at Jonathan as the one who didn't do it well. Jonathan gave them mandate to go to the foundation and see how we fix the foundation. They came to the conference. The first decision they took on the floor of the conference was that they will not go to the foundation. It was their decision. But those who are not able to see anything, reason anyhow, the ones they are pointing at Jonathan as the one who didn't do it. They decided on the floor of the conference. If you remember, the first decision they took was that they would not, when they were discussing their mandate, that they will not, that subject area is no go for them. It was their decision on the floor of the conference. And so again, all of what they did in that conference did not visit the foundation, which was the reason Jonathan, I was directly involved in how the conference came about. I'm not reporting what somebody told me. I was directly involved in what became the decision to call that meeting to go to the foundation. Can I ask you one?
But they got to the place.
Can I ask you one private question? In 2015, who did you vote for?
Yes. I never voted under this constitution.
No.
And I don't intend to vote under this constitution.
Okay. So you didn't vote in 2015. Am I right? Is that
not
right?
before, not before, not during, not after. This constitution, to go and vote, those who have been voting, we can excuse their ignorance because they didn't know they were reinforcing their own enslavement. We tried to tell them in 1999, the first 3 weeks after the constitution came, a meeting of lawyers was convened to look at what has emerged. Obasanjo did not see the constitution before they swore him in to be president. And then we came to the conclusion in those meetings that this document is a forgery and a fraud. Rotimi Williams himself was the one that described it as such. 3 weeks after the constitution was introduced. Then what do we do about it? Oh, that's where the problem began. Everybody say, oh, our nascent democracy, let it settle. We were settling our nascent democracy from 1999, 2003 came to meet us with no serious indication of when the discussion would take place. By then, we already had started this campaign to say we can't build on this kind of rickety foundation. The house will collapse on us. They were not listening. It was when the government under Obasanjo at the time refused to listen. In fact, Obasanjo said we were committing treason when we said we had to go to a meeting to decide because the soldiers are gone now. We thank them for leaving, but we need to go to discuss what will become constitution. Obasanjo, on their behalf, said we were committing treason. He went on national broadcast, threatening everybody. Of course, we had to defy him and set in motion what we had to do. He then called what became the 2005 National Conference. In December in the December of 2004, he set up a committee headed by McCarthy to come just to more or less puncture the balloon of our own plan. Inviting Soyinka and Enohoro, who were the arrowheads leading our own plan, to come to his conference. Of course, we pulled them not to go. And then the conference, his own conference came in the manner it came, and the Niger Delta walked out, and it collapsed on our head. It was when it collapsed in 2005 that we resumed our own.
Okay, quick one.
And so
the freedom
it wasn't because people were not at that time. Nobody was listening until things began to happen to them one after the other.
Okay, you know the freedom website you mentioned earlier on. What's the website again?
Yes. www.freedomfromnigeria.com. All of those who are fed up with this union of attrition, a union of death, go to that website and you'll be guided step by step. It shouldn't be more than a few weeks or months for us to see the back of this atrocity.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere because all these fine details that we need to pick up is very important because they're going to help us to actually analyze things very well. So people are asking me, what do we need to do? What do we need to go? Where do we need to face? What weapon do you need? They're asking so many different questions. And the question they were asking, I want to make sure I get it right to everybody. First of all, one of the first things you need to do, we cannot translate this program into various languages. We can't. It's very hard. I don't know if you have the means. You can come to your own shop and translate it and put it out to your website or to your own YouTube space. It doesn't matter. All I want to do is to get information out to a lot of people. I don't control who share my program or who doesn't share it. Number one. Number two, education. Educate. I'm sorry. I'm due to the football as well. Education. What I want you guys to do is to tell others about this program. Share with others. Share the previous one with others. Let them learn from it. Let them know what is at vogue. Let them know what is going on. Like the page. Subscribe to the channel so that this kind of we have so much program coming up, and that's been in the past. If you don't like it, you're not going to see more. You might just stumble into this. You might not even get a notification when this is happening. At the moment, we have about 119 people watching, and I've only got 23 likes. That's terrible. Terrible. Way terrible. 119 watching, 23 likes. Are you telling me you don't like what you're saying? If you like it, if you don't like, dislike it. I don't mind if you dislike. Keep the like and the dislike. Let them keep flowing. Even on YouTube, on Facebook. On Facebook, what do we have on Facebook currently? On Facebook, I have 143 watching, and I don't think I have that much like on Facebook either. I just want to know how many people. That one is even probably worse. That one is even worse. Okay, 142 watching on Facebook, and I got 33 likes. That's a complete joke. You can like, you can dislike. I'm not saying you have to like.
No, no. Don't worry with all of it's not the multitude that was it the multitude that went with David to bring down the Goliath? It was only him.
That's true. That's true.
When the the monarchy in Baghdad, that's Iraq, got overtaken. It was only 3 people that went to the palace and they succeeded in killing off a king that had presided over them for about 40 years at the time. 3 people, and it was a revolution. When Ghana had to turn around in the days of at the time Rollins emerged, was it a multitude? No, it takes only a few people to get to know, but once light comes, darkness has to evaporate. It's not a matter of multitude. If it was a matter of multitude, the political parties would have done it all the while. All of those who have been waving one flag or the other in large numbers. No, you have to find out what the problem is. If you do not have correct diagnosis, you are never going to treat that right. It doesn't matter that the multitude say, "Oh, let's go there." So don't bother. Even if it's 10 people that get to see it, eventually it will travel around. Those who light and darkness, don't share space. If you imagine you have a warehouse that is the size of a football field, but very dark inside. If you have only one floodlight at one end, darkness will not survive inside that big space anymore. Just one, the type you have used in the stadium. Put it there. Nobody's going to be able to do the kind of things they will do in a dark warehouse because of that light. How much more when you have 50 points of light or 200 points of light? So that's the way it works. It's not a popularity contest.
Okay, I like that. It's
Don't bother with
the popularity context we're doing. We are actually doing what we need to do to get to where we need to get to. I want to thank you, Tony, for everything you've done for us today. It's been fantastic on the program, and I really love what you're doing to us because you're actually opening our eyes to so many good things. My issue still remains. I want more people to view this. I want more people to see it. The more people that see it, the better it's going to be for every one of us. Because we need to bring this down. We need to know where we're going. We need to do the right stuff. And what are the right stuff? We need to bring the 1999 Constitution. We need to pull it down. We need to bring an end to it. And we cannot do it alone. We have to do it collectively. Remember, we're stronger in power. We're stronger in power. Thank you very much, everyone. This program is not a Sunday program. This program is actually a Friday morning program. I know a lot of you might be at work, but you can come back and watch it later on. The reason it's like this at the moment is because we tried to do it on Friday, last Friday just gone, and we couldn't get it to work because they are fighting you people of Nigeria, the people that reside in Nigeria. They're fighting everyone with everything they have to make sure you don't get to where you're supposed to get to. Imagine electricity. It's not rocket science to have electricity, but they put it on exclusive list. Who can do it? The federal government. The federal government that sits down in Abuja, what does he know about Lagos? What does he know about Abakaliki? What does he know about Ikire? He doesn't know whether there is light in Ikire or there is no light in Ikire. But the state governor will know. The local government will know. There's nothing stopping local government from using their money or even getting investor to bring electricity to their own area. And the investor will get their money back from what they get. They will get their money back from the investment they've just made. Tony, I want to thank you once again. The program is not going to be long like we normally have it during the week because there's so many things that is not right with the Nigerian, and sometimes I'm getting angry right and left because the more this man exposes their idiocy, the more angry I become. Thanks for that great education. Why is I always like to interview this man? Okay, this man educates you. You need to be educated. That's it. If you don't like it, get out of here. If you don't want to be educated about what is important to your life, then get out of here. Get out completely. Go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. Go and watch football. Arsenal and Leeds game on.
No.
Go watch it.
No, you should go to the beer parlor and watch Man U and Arsenal. They've resumed.
Yeah. So the choice is yours. It's too painful. Why government is evil? Yes, it's evil. It's not only him. So many people around him. The caliphate are evil. The people who was ruled before him, I might call them evil as well. Because then again, how many of you helped Buhari get into the government? And how many of you actually helped in kicking Jonathan out? So many of you helped Buhari gets there in 2015. Maybe you helped by postponing the blood flow that might have happened in Nigeria because they brought so many people from so many parts of the world at that time to come and fight. They said, should in case Jonathan won, they're going to fight. They want to fight. They really, really want to fight. Maybe you help them to avert the trouble. Maybe that is when you do that is good. But looking at it back now, the mystery of people is just too much. It's just too much. And Jonathan said something, my winning the election is not as more valuable as the blood of every single Nigerian. And remember, the people they brought in to come and fight at that time, the people are still here. They didn't leave. They become bandits. Remember? They're the people, they hide in our bushes. They're supposed to come out and fight. And now, they didn't go back. They didn't pay them ₦1 billion. Is it $1 billion or 10 billion naira they paid them to go back? They took the money. Who helped them with the settlement? El Rufai. My favorite El Rufai, who has been championing all these things all along the line. All along the line. He's been championing. He's been calling for it. He's been waging war against it. And he's been doing it in a way that he will make sure that you suffer. It was a big shame. Very big shame. Very, very big shame. All this talk, what I want is freedom for my people. Yeah, you want freedom, but you have to do it in a way. You can't do it without talking. Biafra must be free. Buhari is fraud. He did not win the... Yeah, he didn't win the election, but some of you helped. You lift his hand up a little bit. Maybe you don't know. I want to thank everybody who has been on this program today. I really want to thank you for what you've done. I want to thank every one of you who has worked so hard to make sure that this program goes well, to make sure that we are always transmitting from people that works, to make sure that I get enough coffee, I get enough light, tidy the house, look after me, both inside and outside the bedroom, and things like that, and make sure that I have a lovely meal on my desk every time. Anthony, I want to thank him for what he has done. It takes a lot of hard work. Yes, it comes here for about 1 hour to 2 hours to do this, but between me and you, he has spent a lot of time preparing for this. I'm just reading some more comments on this one. Tony Nnadi is coming to the point. They're washing you, Tony. They say you're doing a good job. So, Tony, Mario Thompson, tell them they should stop bringing personal issues to this program because we're in this problem together. We're all washing. Though. Please keep washing. It's good. You are on point. Any governor that have swear allegiance to the Nigerian Constitution are evil and are slave to Fulani. True. Deborah Alade, thank you, Mr. Tony Nnadi. Nnadi. Okay, so we will be closing the program. Tony, do you have anything to add to what we discussed today? Otherwise, we're going to be calling the day till next week. Friday. We'll make sure it's Friday this time around. Tony? Hold on. I think we lost Tony by chance there. I don't know what happened. Let me see. He's been trying to get back to me. Or maybe the team knows that we're supposed to finish now. Maybe that's why. Thank you for the love you're showing. Gospel truth is what we're talking here. I need freedom now. I love your teachings. Yeah. Well, freedom. Thank you. Okay, the man is trying. He's not only trying, he's working hard to make sure that we get our freedom. I want to thank everybody who has been part of this program today. I want to wish you a very best of time for what you've done. I cannot say but to keep saying that you have helped me out on this program today. Thank you very much, everybody who has been part of this program today. From me and from Tony, my guest, I want to say a very good evening to you all, and I will see you again next week, Friday. Thank you, and have a lovely evening. Good night. Sorry guys, I have to break this transmission. Something just happened that I need to come back to quickly. Do you remember Philip Shekwar, the APC chairman for Nasarawa State in 2018? On the 18th of August 2018, he said, if not that God brought Buhari, Nigeria would have been in a serious mess. This is his words in 2018. He said it in 2018. I don't know if you remember him. I know you guys are leaving already, but I just have to do this one quickly. Philip Shekwar, or whatever they call it, was kidnapped and was killed. He was killed by kidnappers in Nasarawa State. That is, well, Nigeria is really in serious trouble, even though Buhari is there. That was a tweet that was just coming on the wire just now. I want to thank you all for coming back to that. They say they don't mock the dead, right? Sometimes you have to mock some dead so that they know that the living can do what is right, and what is right is what is right. Please, can anybody tell me what happened in Lagos 3 days ago? Fulani was crowned. Yes, yes, something like that happens. Someone was there, someone was part of it, and they said they will be Fulani will be contesting for the Lagos State governorship in 2023. Already there's an election, but I don't think there's going to be an election. If you care to know as well, the Arsenal game is actually drawn. I cannot do without telling you guys that. I just love to. So sorry for that. I have to go and finish the program. Good night.